everybody. Hi. Oh my gosh. Let me see, make sure the chat is like gonna do its thing. Chat, are you gonna do your thing? Well, the chat is gonna do its thing. But is the on-screen chat box going to represent for the tech? Good evening, everybody. Stephanie Cake, how are you? You good?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good, yeah.
I'm glad to hear
I
it.
had to do some adulting today.
You had to do adulting?
Good.
What kind of adulting?
Yeah. Well, you know, I sometimes have to pay my mortgage, and so I take on, as much as you probably have to do, you take on jobs that don't have anything to do with quilts, and you sit there the whole time and think, I'd rather be quilting.
Yeah.
So I had to do some of that today.
Okay, I get that. I hear that. I feel it. I hear it. Yes, understood. And I hope it went okay. Did you sew? Have you sewn in like the past week? This is, I mean, put a 1 in the chat if you've sewn in the past week, like actual sewing of any kind. You know. How about you? Do you get it in? Do you get in?
Yes, indeed I do. It has to be, I either have to be sick or traveling or something has to be going on to keep me from at least like sewing for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
I have to keep calluses on my quilting fingers. So they go away if you let, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. What are you working on? I'm talking to Stephanie Cake, everybody. By the way, Stephanie Cake is the co-producer of the show. I mean, she's Cake, right? And I'm so grateful for her. And she can sew anything. She really, I mean, she would not say this. I am saying this, but she's very good at making things with fabric and needles but like also paper mache, different things. But she's really good at it, and we're happy to have her. And she, you know, she helps me learn things. And so yeah. What are you working on right now?
Well, actually, I'm trying to catch up on some projects. Some of my quilt folk classes, I realize I have a stack of half-done stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to catch up on that. And I also have a few little pieces I've been working on that I have a show coming up in the spring.
Nice.
So I'm prepping for that.
Heck yeah. Can you put the link in the chat?
Yeah.
The link in the chat for the show? It's probably, is it up there?
Don't have a link yet, but it is going to be, I think, in Michigan.
Nice.
I will let everybody know. Yeah, I'll let everybody know. It's a really cool thing. It's a tiny gallery.
Nice.
If you've heard of those, you guys? I don't know if you've heard of those. Tiny art inside of like doll houses and stuff.
Oh yeah. Where did I see that? Like art form?
Yeah.
No, I mean hyperallergic or something. That's cool. That's really cool.
Maybe, yeah. It's a big thing, and making itty bitty little quilts it's so fun. It's cute.
I love that. Reminds me of Amy Pabst, right? Our friend Amy. In that, miniature way. Everybody, hello. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and you could say, for you. I did it for you. And I did. Like genuinely, you know, with an open heart. I was supposed to be flying back to Chicago. I'm in Chicago. I'm supposed to be flying back tomorrow. And my flight was at 6 a.m. tomorrow, you know, which means I had to get up in Winterset, Iowa at 3:30, you know, a.m. But, and that was going to be, you know, what it was tomorrow. But I decided to do it today. So I've been up since 3:30. But the reason that I did it today, and I moved my flight, and Southwest is the best. I love you, Southwest. No change fees and, you know, 2 free bags. Because I did not want this stream to fail. And I want to do like a little, like, I don't know, it's not voodoo or anything. Voodoo is like a legit thing, and I don't want to, sort of make light of voodoo, but I want to do like a reverse hex sign to the tech gods. That's right. I am tired of being tempest tossed about this you know, this ocean of tech trouble. I mean, it has really been a solid month of woe, you know, for me and for you, and like, the tech gods are having their way with us, and I am about tired of it. So, I mean, I came back to Chicago a day early and was like, I'm just going to power through, because I just really hate it when the stream doesn't work. And as Steph and I were talking about it, and, you know, I don't mean to sound sort of hostile, but like, if you don't do this, you don't know like all of the things, you know, that like go into it, and the things you troubleshoot. And when it's on the other side, it's so frustrating, because you can't help everybody who showed up. So I came back home because now we got the home court advantage. And hopefully things are just like, sailing fine. And I checked the sound, so the video on demand replay should be totally fine with sound. So anyway, so tech gods, hear me now. Scram, beat it. No, done. I get the message, whatever message it was you were trying to send me. Maybe like my gratitude for when you work. Okay, got it. Like, message received. You're amazing. Please leave me be, with the trouble. Okay? All right. So I'm here in Chicago, a little sleepy, really sleepy, but we're gonna plow forward anyway. I've got a great show for you tonight. Lots of really cool things to watch. It's a video night. It's kind of a video night, not totally. We'll see how the night goes, where it takes us. I'm seeing everybody in the chat. It's so good to see the community. Kathy, good evening to you, my dear, and Robin and Kay and Darcy. Hey, Darcy. Dee Dee. I'm gonna name off the folks who just resubscribed. Dee Dee at tier 2, thank you so much. Finn McCool, it's great to see you. And Joyce, it's great to see you. Amy's here, yay! Joyce, thank you for subscribing. Miss Schral is here, good to see you. Mod Art Quilt, Maro Dim, subscribed at tier 1. You've been subscribed for 2 months. Maro Dim, you know what? I got a feeling about you. That's right. That's the feeling I got. Earth Girl Now, thank you so much for subscribing. You've been subscribed for 20 months. Amazing. When you subscribe to the show, you don't have to watch ads, and you also get like badges and like new emotes and stuff. Take those custom emotes out for a spin. They're fun. It's a good time. It seems like a small thing, but when you get like access to like the scone emoji, it feels good. I know, it feels good. Padma, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 2. You've been subscribed for over 2 years. Amazing. I appreciate you. Yeah. No, I mean, I got out of Dodge. There is actually a Dodge, Iowa. I want to say hi to Ivy is here. Hello, Ivy. And who lost Weka. And Eva, we have a chip report for you. Let's do it now. Eva's chip report.
And there was no monkey business.
I always do that. Wasn't that's so dramatic? Yeah. Kenny sent these chips. I'm eating the hickory barbecue. I'm so tired. I already ate a whole bag of these chips. This is my second bag of chips. It's beautiful. So yeah, Boulder Canyon hickory barbecue. Are you snacking? What are you snacking on, Cake?
Well, I'm having some iced tea. My mother gave me this delicious iced tea mix, and as usual, Swedish fish.
That's your thing.
It's a wonder I have teeth left.
Swedish fish.
They are my thing.
It's Cake's thing. I love them. Oh, I've got a really funny story about them, but I don't know if it's appropriate. I know that sounds weird, but
you should tell them on Thursday.
I will tell them on Thursday. Thank you very much. And what is happening on Thursday? While I have a sip of water, can you tell them?
Well, I just threw it out there and I said, hey, Mare, you want to come on the show coming up? And she says, heck yeah. So for those of you that hang out with me on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time, you will see this face right here hanging out with me.
Yeah, and it was a great suggestion because I was like, Stephanie, like everything's terrible with the not with the show, but like just with tech. And you were like, hop on my stream, like, we can do like a little bonus thing. And that was a great idea and I appreciate it. So yeah, on Thursday, so day after tomorrow, right? On Steph's channel, I'm gonna like guest visit and we're gonna do something, and I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be fun. So
yes,
2 p.m.
hopefully
Eastern.
It'll be fun and ridiculous and at least tangential to quilting.
Exactly, like quilt adjacent, maybe, but like we can connect it to anything, right? So that'll be great. So I'll be there on Thursday and join us for that. Kind of a bonus kind of thing, but also like just follow Steph and watch her and Kenny too, and yeah, we got a community over here on Twitch. So everybody, thanks. Saucy's here. A Nun Maker is here. It's so good to see you. And Kenny, I love your chips. Sherlock Sows, if you're in here, I don't know if you are, I have a question for you. Do you speak German? I think you do. I think you speak I know you speak like 5 languages, one of them being Afrikaans and one of them being Well, you speak a million of them, and if one of them is German, we need to talk German. Hey, Dee Marie. Dee Dee's here. I think I said that, but I also saw your beautiful sister, Kay, and Mama Llama. You subscribed at Tier 2, you've been subscribed for 16 months. That's amazing. Eva, they are really delicious. Surprise guest tonight. Palma, I'm not talking to a surprise guest tonight. Do you know what she mentioned? I'm not sure. Yeah?
Just me. I'm always a great surprise.
Okay, yeah, okay, good. Chill, it's great to see you. I just saw your email come in. Quilting Politic is here. I haven't seen Babe yet, but I hope I can say hi. And okay, great. People are putting ones in the chat. I forgot what I asked about. What did I ask about? Wait a minute. Put a 1 in the chat. If you've
sewn in the last
Thank
week.
Thank you so much. 3:30. Hashtag 3:30 a.m. Hashtag airplanes. You've sewn. Oh, this is good. This is very good. Yeah, a lot of people have sewn. That's fantastic. Prairie Susie, subscribed for 20 months. Thank you so much for subscribing. And yeah, and by the way, if you missed it, Maro Dim is a first time chatter, and so the welcome basket emoji that most of you have access to, put a welcome basket emoji in the chat for Maro Dim. And if you don't know how to do that, like you can be like, how do I do the emoji? And someone, Robin or Cake or one of the lovely people in this community will tell you how to do it. But we like to welcome people who say hi in the chat. And Maro, I'm glad you're around. And you can be in the lurker lounge, and I really respect the people who like are just like, I don't chat, I lurk, I watch the show, I cut out, I get it. But when you say hi in the chat, like, you know, welcome the people. It's great. I'm glad you're here. Prairie Susie, thank you so much. Oh, yeah. If I missed your name, please do not think that that I did it on purpose. How could I possibly? Bip! Oh my God, Bip. Thank you for subscribing for 24 months. That's 2 years. At Tier 2, forget about it. Quack Quack Cat, Richard. Okay, everybody's here. I'm calling the roll. Susan R. Michael, the other Mary Kate. Oh my God, okay. Well, I love you people so much. Yakamo's here. KP So's is here. All right. I really have been missing you. So let's get to some content. What do you say? I don't think I have other announcements. I mean, they can wait, you know. There's nothing pressing. Let's talk about quilts, yeah? Do you have anything else, Steph, before I pop into the stuff? Anything?
No, just glad to be here tonight. Tuesdays are always wonderful.
They really are a good time, yeah. And Saturday nights are for subscribers only. So if you love Babe, I saw you. It's good to see you, Babe. If you like this show, subscribe to it. It takes resources, it takes time to put it together. And if you subscribe, you don't have to watch ads, and you get to like, I don't know, you get stuff. The ad thing would be enough for me, you know. But if you subscribe at different levels, like you get different emotes, and you get like to be entered in the giveaways and all that stuff. So Saturday nights are it's a big perk. If you like the show and you want to watch it a couple times a week, then subscribe, and you can watch it on Saturday night. But if you're not subscribed, then Tuesday night is your night, and that's a great night to be here. So, okay, that's my plug. I do my best. Okay, so let me get small here. Help, I'm small. We start the show with a different quilt each time. Behind me, oh, we got the sewing kitten. You know what that means. It means, oh, I see subscribers. Sherlock, hi, honey. Susan R. Michael gifted a sub to the community. Prairie Pirate Yo, welcome to Quilt Nerd. You have a gift sub. You don't have to watch ads. You get to win a thing, possibly, and you're here, and you're among friends. So put welcome baskets in the chat, please, if you would, for Prairie Pirate Yo. We have a Prairie Susie here, so perhaps you will meet a prairie friend. So this quilt that we're going to start the show off with is from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Okay, that's where I found it. Hey, Angelina. Oh, it's so good to see you. Girl. So, yeah, Cake just put the link up there in the chat. The Met Museum is interesting. I mean, they don't have a lot of quilts in their collection, in their permanent collection, but they do have some. And some of the quilts that they have are, you know, pretty interesting, right? You know, not bad, not bad. And by the way, I was just working on something, and it was something I'm writing about quilt history, okay? And I was writing about the Freedom Quilting Bee, which took place in during the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. And a lot of people know about Gee's Bend quilts. You know, Gee's Bend is really, really a big story in the American quilt, like, you know, yeah, in the timeline, the Gee's Bend quilters and their work. But, you know, a lot of people, as I understood the story for a really long time, a lot of what gets told about the Gee's Bend quilt phenomenon is that they were kind of discovered in 2002 by these art collectors, Bill Arnett and you know, his son and people, and that that their story kind of starts there in a lot of the histories and in like the popular like understanding of the Gee's Bend story. But there's much more to the story, and the story really has a huge there's a fundamental part of that story that starts in the 1960s and the Civil Rights Movement, and there was something called the Freedom Quilting Bee. And the Freedom Quilting Bee was a collective of women in Alabama's Black Belt, as they called it, and still call it maybe. But these women were making quilts and were getting paid, and you know, sold their quilts, the Gee's Bend style quilts that we know, that we kind of recognize today. It's really a huge part of the story, and so I was looking at that part of the story and thinking about quilt history. And the Metropolitan Museum of Art has a lot of quilts from like the chintz, you know, the early British, you know, chintz quilts and things like the one we're looking at. And they have a few from the Gee's Bend era. And what was I going to say about Gee's Bend? Hang on now. Hang on. It's going to come back to me. Yeah. Hashtag 3:30 in the morning. No, it'll come back to me. So anyway, oh yeah, wait. Okay, well, let's look at this quilt, and the Freedom Quilting Bee thing will come back to me. But this quilt at the Metropolitan Museum of Art is called a strip pattern quilt. It's very, very, you know, basic sort of title for this. There's no like pattern here exactly. It is a strip quilt made from chintz material. It dates to 1840. It was made in New Hampshire in about 1840 roughly. Cotton. The dimensions of this are 79 by 62 and a half inches. And there's no maker on it. It was acquired by the museum in 1990. It was a gift. So I don't pick quilts like this that much because I don't know. I'm kind of more interested in the more contemporary quilts, you know, 19th, definitely 20th century. So I have to make sure, you know, as like the host of the show, that I'm really, you know, representing and like exploring all of the eras and all of the periods and all of the locations and people, right, who make quilts, because this is Quilt Nerd, so we're fearless about, you know, what we want to learn about. So this quilt, here's what I can tell you at the Met, and you can see the strips. I think you can probably see them. This middle one, you know, is very clearly defined. You can kind of see a difference in the fabric. You can see the seam, I think, right there. Between, I think, right? You can see it, Steph, right? I'm seeing you kind of nod, like yeah. But what's interesting about this, and then I'll read what they have to say. But here you see this motif, this fussy cut piece of the chintz fabric breaks the frame. I think, okay? I think either that or the strip is actually. Let me go over here. The strip is actually, how do I describe this visually? This part of the fabric, okay, this like polka dot sort of juvenile, almost like, you know, yeah, the confetti kind of look of the fabric here, that and its counterpart here and the middle part with the basket and all this stuff, it's actually one piece of fabric. I think it is. Do you think it is? Or do you think they were fussy cutting and like, no, it's one piece?
Yeah, I was wondering that. And as you zoomed in, I think it's got to be one piece because
It's got to be.
Those little, I guess they're apples.
Yeah.
The little ones were also fussy cut and appliqued in there. I think it's just that's one like novelty chintz.
Because okay. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's the clue. There it is. Like this, that's the print. You have like one of these little motifs from the tossed flowers coming over the top of the apple. That's one clue. I mean, the other clue that it's one piece of fabric, that these like they look like 3 strips, but it's actually one piece of the same print, is because we don't see, I mean, there's no fussy cutting happening. Like we would be able to see.
There's definitely no applique lying around those baskets and flowers.
No. But boy, does it look cool. It looks so cool. So here's what the Met has to say about it. I had some, brilliant point to make earlier. But anyway, we'll see if it comes back. The appearance of a strip quilt is usually very like that of a whole cloth quilt. Even though, what's going on over here? Let's look at this. Even though it is technically pieced. Like whole cloth quilts, the makers of strip quilts were concerned with showing off the large pieces of fancy fabric with which the quilts are made, rather than calling attention to an intricately pieced design. Look at these birds. Wow. While some of the pieces of fabrics in this quilt were probably leftovers from other home furnishing projects, others, such as the wide strip, oh, here we go, with bowls of fruit at the center of this example, we're so smart, may have been purchased specifically, hey Teresa Michael, thank you for subscribing, may have been purchased specifically with the quilt in mind. Interesting. Yes, I would say that is likely. All these fabrics have large-scale patterns that would not have been as visually effective if the quilt maker had chosen to cut them into small pieces to be stitched into an ordinary pieced quilt. Yes, and here's something. So Kay Fassett was in Winterset yesterday. We were ships in the night yesterday. We didn't see each other, but he lectured in Winterset because he has an exhibit of quilts up at the Iowa Quilt Museum. And just get ready for this. Get ready. Kay Fassett said to the executive director of the Iowa Quilt Museum, buckle up, that he had, and I quote, never seen his quilts look more beautiful than they did at the Iowa Quilt Museum. And I got to tell you, I mean, that gallery in Winterset, Iowa, the Iowa Quilt Museum, and I think they should call it like the National Quilt Gallery or something to take, because Iowa's important, but I think it's actually not so great for, marketing wise, whatever. But Kay Fassett and Brandon was there, Brandon Mabley was there, and they were stunned. It is so beautiful. And that is huge. That is really great. So if you can get to Iowa and see the Kay Fassett exhibit or any exhibit, that gallery is extraordinary. The reason I thought of it is because, Kay's fabrics, well, actually, Philip, what's the guy he works with? It's Kay Fassett and Brandon and not Philip Morris, but there's another, Philip Jacobs? I think Philip Jacobs. But a lot of those prints are really big. Not all of them, but a lot of the prints from those particular designers are really big. And if you make small patchwork like I do when I'm making patchwork, I cut up small pieces. I mean, I like small prints so I have trouble working with Kate stuff and Brandon Mabley and Philip Jacobs stuff because the prints are really big. And if you have a print like this with big flowers and big baskets and you cut it into 2.5-inch squares to sew it to other 2.5-inch squares, you lose the integrity of the print. There's no basket anymore. There's like a piece of fabric with like if you ever have a novelty print with like cats, like you get like a cat butt on one piece and then like a big cat eyeball on another piece. Like you destroy like this big print. So that's what the Met is saying here, is that these fabrics have large scale patterns that would not have been as visually effective if the quilt maker had chosen to cut them into small pieces to be stitched into an ordinary pieced quilt. I'd also just say that at this time, I mean, chintz was really expensive. And from what I've learned is that people who could afford it, which were the very richest people, you wanted to make it last. You know, you wanted to stretch out, you know, what you had. And so you would applique, you know, motifs from the chintz fabric onto muslin backgrounds. This is what I understand. So there's lots of reasons why they didn't like cut this up and, you know, make it a log cabin. They instead made it this. And it's really beautiful. And there's a little bit more. Fabric and wallpaper, the Met says, fabric and wallpaper designers of the mid-19th century enjoyed realistic trompe-l'oeil effects as can clearly be seen from this quilt. Yes, okay, let me just go in a little bit here. The white ceramic bowls laden with fruit and a single pink rose have the same luscious quality as the hand-colored floral prints of the period. The other fabrics make little sense with the center panel. Well, okay. Well, actually, they're right. Okay, yeah. Immediately surrounded by strips of fabric showing small peacocks on pedestals. Actually, hold on now. Peacocks on pedestals. There's a little bit more I didn't get in my printout. Oh, wow. Okay. The other fabrics make little sense. Okay. The presence of peacocks speaks to the century-long popularity of peacocks as a subject in textile design. The outermost incomplete strips of fabric contain 2 different imported English cottons printed with Gothic window tracery. Yeah, it is a little weird. Okay. Okay, Metropolitan Museum of Art. I will give you that. I just remembered what I was going to say about the Freedom Quilting Bee.
That's what I do. I invented Post-its.
Thank you. We will return. I won't forget it now. One of these fabrics includes a flag showing the British Royal Standard as it appeared between 1814 and 1837. When Queen Victoria ascended the throne in 1837, the standard was changed and no longer included the Hanoverian crown. Wow, if you're an Anglophile, you're really into this. This helps us date the particular quilt, to before 1838. The fabric to 1838. Okay. So there you go. There's your intro quilt. There's always a lot to look at when you start with one quilt and you've got a lot to say. And learn about. So the reason I mentioned the Freedom Quilting Bee is because it's really incredible, but, you know, the G's Bend exhibit, it's this huge deal at the Whitney Museum of Art in 2002. But actually, the Metropolitan Museum of Art had a conversation about exhibiting G's Bend, well, quilts made by women who were part of the Freedom Quilting Bee, which was in that area. The Metropolitan Museum of Art considered exhibiting those quilts in 1960. I mean, it was like late 1960s, because Lee Krasner, the famous painter who was married to Jackson Pollock, she was a huge fan of the Freedom Quilting Bee quilts, and she went down there. She had a show opening like near, I think, the University of Alabama or something. Lee Krasner did, and she went to go visit the women, and she was like, this could be a show at the Met. And so she had a meeting with the curator of the modern, like, contemporary art collection at the Met about this. It didn't happen, but in the Freedom Quilting Bee, we probably have a link for that book, the Nancy Callahan Freedom Quilting Bee book. Okay, thanks, Cake. So if you buy a book, if you buy any of the books we talk about, like, use our link because we get a few clams tossed our way if you use our Abe Books affiliate link. It's a book you must have on your shelf about the Freedom Quilting Bee. And this is in that book. It's documented, you know. And so it's amazing that in the 1960s or like late 60s, early 70s, that the G's Bend area, you know, the people making quilts in that area might have had a show at the Met. Amazing, right? Anyway, it would take a long time before those quilts were given their due, but it's a fascinating piece of quilt history. Yes, that's right. Yes, Quilt Nerd. So here we go. I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you to the folks. Hey, Grits and Butter. Susan, hi. I think I said hi to you. Oh, Yvonne, thank you so much. Oh my God, you've been subscribed for 24 months. That's 2 years. At tier 3, I don't know, I mean, thank you so much. Hey, Batwax, you've been subscribed for 4 months. You're on a streak too. Ivana, it's so good to see you. As always, Yakamo, I think I said hey to you, but I'm saying hey again. I'm catching up. Anyway, how about that? KP's here. It's good stuff. We have a good time. So, and Sherlock says, I want the name of the curator who said nah to the Freedom Quilting Bee in the 1960s. And I can tell you, but not right now, but I was just looking at it. Started with a G. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. So that's our intro quilt. Okay. There's a lot. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do what we were going to do on Saturday. Okay. And what we were going to do on Saturday is I was going to show you some stuff. So over in Winterset, the Quilt Folk Foundry. So we did photography over the past couple days, and Mike McCormick came down to Winterset, which was so great because, man, I don't get to see him in person all that often. So he came down. Azuri is our photographer, one of my dearest, like, soul sister kind of folks, so precious to me. And so Mike and Azuri, two of my favorite people, were in Winterset, and we were doing photography, hanging out. It was a grand old time. I climbed trees. We were doing photography out in the city park. I hurt myself. There are many wounds. It was worth every minute. I was like, we were clowning. It was great. So I was there in Winterset, and we have a bunch of tops and loose blocks and things from a friend of ours, Marianne, and the Quilt Folk Foundry. We take lost tops and blocks, unfinished projects, and finish them. And the third batch, we're doing beta testing on like how to even do this. And so the next batch will drop in November. The quilts are beautiful. They're the best quilts we've done so far. On our third round, trying something different, doing photography in Winterset. Anyway, they'll be for sale in November on quiltfolk.com. So the Foundry is a project I've been working on since March and a little before then. And so I was up there in the Quilt Folk space above the Iowa Quilt Museum where all those beautiful cave quilts were being displayed. And we had this big box of stuff from our friend Marianne, who's a local woman who collects quilt blocks and tops and things. And she brought them over, 3 huge boxes of stuff, and was like, I'm trying to cull my collection. Like, let me know if you see anything you want. And we did buy several things from her to be of use in the Foundry. But there was so much, so there was so much. I thought, why don't I take some video of some of the things Marianne has in her boxes? And we chose a few tops, but there was so much, we couldn't take everything. So I decided to record some video of me showing you some of this stuff, and I thought we could talk about it. And so this is a 17-minute video, but I'll probably play it like faster. I don't know. But you'll see how this goes. But I want to talk about these things with you. I mean, like, let's look at this stuff. It's pretty great. So I called this Quilt Nerd Forensics. That's how we do. This is kind of like quilt block forensics, or just looking at stuff, like what did this person have? There's no sound because I knew. Oh wait, hold on. Oh hey, wait. I'm not speeding it up yet. I figured we want to talk about it, so I didn't put any commentary on it because we are the commentary. Okay, hang on. Let's do 1.5. We'll see how that goes. Okay. So the first thing, and I even have little title cards. This is what I had for you on Saturday night when the tech was lame. Quilt Nerd Forensics. Okay. Let's look at some of this stuff. Yeah, video, right, Dee Marie? Yeah. Tops are your joy, wonky quilter. I'm telling you. It's so much fun to finish these projects that were abandoned, okay? Oh, yeah, I have to actually play the video. Okay, there we go. So these are large foundation pieced squares, okay? So you'll see, because I try to go through. I only had I didn't have a camera person, so I did my best. But these things are huge. So these are one of the things that we had. I'm playing at normal speed. I just can't handle that because I wanted to show you a lot of the fabrics and stuff. Okay, here we go. So these squares were really big. I don't know how big they were. 20 by 20 or something. They're foundation pieced, probably 1940s, right? And please, Steph, if you have any, just, jump in at any time. That's a big card table. And then that's an ironing surface we had made for some of the projects we've been doing. There's foundation. I mean, there's the foundation. I think that's mold. What do you think? Like, this is one of the reasons we didn't take some of these squares. Jill might be able to help us out too. Thanks, Lynn. God bless you. Like there's dirt and then there's like, it just looked weird. Does that look moldy to you?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it could be some kind of damage, something.
Yeah.
But it's really funny, Mary.
Yeah.
How there's all like serendipity. I feel like has been this like buzzword, and it was a buzzword.
It really was. Yeah. It was all over.
Jill and I actually looked at some cotton crazy blocks like this last week.
That's weird.
Now they had the crazy quilt embroidery on them, but they were similar to these, like large but done with cotton, not with your typical crazy quilt stuff, done on a foundation.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, and they were really big, huh? Like 20 by 20 or something? These might even be bigger than that. I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, those do look really big. But, typically, like, the crazy quilt wasn't, crazy patches wasn't a thing that people did as much.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, I mean, they did a lot of scrappy things, but you don't see this as much as you do, like, the traditional crazy quilt. So it's funny to me to see this, like, again.
Yeah. And there was on the tier 2 and tier 3 Sunday social. Oh, and by the way, so when you subscribe at tier 2 or tier 3 level, you get a special VIP stream every month. And we've been able to look at the exhibits at the Iowa Quilt Museum over the past months because I've been there so much working. And the Sunday social, the next Sunday social, is next Sunday, the 29th at 11 a.m. Central. And guess what I did? I went and took footage of that cave exhibit. And I've got the whole exhibit recorded. And so on the Sunday social on the 29th, you'll see it. You'll see the exhibit that Cave Fassett said was the best exhibit he'd ever seen of his quilts. That dude has been, come on, he's done collabs with Coach, at the American Museum in Britain.
Didn't you go to one of the...
I've been to his house.
What museum it was in London?
I've hung out with Cave and Brandon, Yeah, totally. I mean, like, we're tight. We're cool. Me and Cave are cool. And it's like, that's a huge compliment. Anyway, so I went all around the gallery and I took footage of all of the quilts in the gallery, but no sound, so we can watch it together, so it's great. So you should, if you want to upgrade your membership, like, it's totally worth it. You get extra stuff. Anyway, I had to say that because that is news. It's not a sales pitch. Well, it's like the truth of like cool stuff. Okay. So anyway, so this, so here, I paused it here because this fabric is crazy. There's like, look at this. Sagittarius. Did you see that? Sagittarius fabric. So one would think like the 1940s, but now I'm confused because were they doing horoscope fabrics in the 1940s? I have no idea. Also, you have to date a quilt by the fabric that was the most recent, right? The most recent. So this might have been made in the 1970s, but the person who made it had some like fabric from their nana, from the 1940s. I don't know. I'm not a fabric dater. I'm not a quilt appraiser. I don't know what I'm talking about. Essentially, I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't get it twisted. Don't take my word for it. But part of what makes these squares so great is, it's the fabric, right? Yeah. I
can tell you that there were some quilt patterns that were astrology. I think it was called the Almanac quilt. And I think that was in the early 30s, if I remember correctly.
Almanac.
It's one of it's either Nancy Page, Nancy Habit, Florence Legank, one of
Interesting.
those people. And and it looks like there's words around here, and I'm guessing like it's like, Pisces, they're very practical, or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
that kind of rings true with what that quilt looks like.
Interesting.
It looks very different, but there are these words that were associated with each astrological sign.
Interesting. And the other Mary,
did like an embroidery.
Interesting. This is great. Other Mary Kate says novelty prints from the 1940s were crazy and amazing. God, I gotta tell you, Mary Kate, it is so great to see you around. I mean, honestly, like, are you going to QuiltCon? Are you doing that kind of stuff? It'd be great to see you. So anyway, the other Mary Kate and I, we are the ones who birthed the whole the Quilt Nerd drinking game, which is when you read, if we ever read on the show or someone mentions completely innocently, like a newbie perhaps, says, these aren't your grandmother's quilts, we all have to do a shot. Now, I don't keep the hard liquors around, but if it ever happens, the other Mary Kate and I were like, if anybody ever says, these aren't your grandmother's quilts, it's just so annoying, right? But you should, do a shot of tequila. Anyway, it made sense at the time. It still does, damn it. It's been a while since we did it. Anyway, this fabric, by the way, this brown flower, it's also been seen in this quilt square in red. Look, it's right here. Hold on. This fabric that we're going to see here in 2 minutes is like totally ubiquitous. Right there it is in blue, up there at the top. I've seen, you know what I mean? It's like, it's everywhere. Shot. Yes, Lost Wecca, a shot. We should do a Quilt Nerd on Parade of literally our grandmother's quilts just to be meta. I love it. Oh my God.
That's what I do. I invented Post-its.
Listen, the next Quilt Nerd on Parade show is going to be your grandmother's quilts. Shot. That's a great idea, Sherlock. Yes.
And anyone who happens to come to QuiltCon next year, you need to bring a shot glass with you just in case.
Do it. I mean, February 2024. By the way, I think it's okay to say, a little bird told me, QuiltCon, tickets and, buzz, let me put it that way, very high. Things have sold out so much that things are being potentially added. I don't know. I can't tell you my source. Maybe I don't have a source. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know. But it's going to be a big show. And I'm very glad that I'm not like a social leper at this point. So yeah, things are good. Things are great. You should come to QuiltCon if you like. Looks like it's going to be a barn burner. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, these are, I kept filming these blocks because there it is in green. The fabrics were so cool. Look at that horse. This is, okay, so that's that. All right, so the next thing, aminals. Like animals. This is adorable. There are only a few blocks that were in this little stack from Marianne. Look at those, look at that little elephant. I don't know about dates on this. I'm not sure. Those are like pencil marks. I know, Steph. Listen, if anybody is interested in purchasing any of this, like I can hook you up with Marianne. I can't tell you about prices or anything like that, but these were offered to us for sale and were things that wouldn't work for the Quilt Folk Foundry. But if you're really into some of this, email quiltnerdshow@gmail.com and Robin will make sure that I get back to you as soon as I can. But really, she would love to give these things a good home. Oh yeah, it's not pencil, it's pen. This is like blue ballpoint pen on these, the sketches of these animals. Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, this little Scotty dog. Now look at that blanket stitching. Is that even No. What is that? Couching? I mean, that's thick.
No, it looks like it's a really tight blanket stitch or buttonhole stitch, and probably used a little bit heavier floss or.
But is it machine? Is it? I mean, look how I was like.
No, I think that looks like it's hand done, but it's just I was about to say, turn it over, Mary.
Yeah. Am I good or am I good? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just you can see it's just a really tight stitch to outline.
Yeah.
To make sure, because it's technically a raw edge applique.
Technically, yes, right, it is. Look at that goat.
Mm-hmm. But they've done that really tight buttonhole stitch to capture as much of the fraying as they could.
Interesting.
And oh my gosh, that's a goat.
It is a goat. It is legit a goat. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I wonder, like, how they left the eyes. They're like, well, did they leave? Yeah, I don't think they did anything with the eye. They're like, I'm going to wait on the eyes. Those seem really hard, you know, because the little elephant eye is just drawn. But it's wonderful. It's so great. It would be, a pretty heavy quilt, right? But you know, I knew just how we'd want to talk about these. So I laid them out, tried to go slowly, looked at the fabrics, turned them over. You know what I mean? It makes sense. It makes sense, this show. So so there's just 4. Okay. So then Dresden half plates. This is very interesting. There were so many of these. Dee Marie loves the goat. Dee Marie, well, I love you. Is it an Airedale? Lynn, I thought so too, like a Scotty or an Airedale. Yes. So there are 100. Steph says yes. Yes, she's nodding. This Ziploc bag contains 114 units of what you're about to see. 114. Now, I think Mom and I have talked about this, and Mike too. We think maybe we named the workshop that we made, maybe we titled it poorly, Finishing School, because Mom and I did a workshop for Quilt Folk, which you can still get, and people have really liked it. We've gotten great feedback. We called our workshop Finishing School, which I think is actually, we did not even anticipate this at all. We didn't think about it even once. But finishing school, when you're talking about quilts, kind of implies quilting. I think it kind of implies finishing the quilt with quilting. Anyway, it's not about that. It's about finishing projects that someone else started, vintage projects like the ones we're looking at now. And it has been so fun to do. I love finishing vintage tops and making something new out of blocks, or making a quilt quiltable by changing some of the things about it, because without your help, it's not going to happen. I really have enjoyed it. And what you're about to see is exactly what I'm talking about. Some unknown or once known person created 114, pardon me, at least 114 of these units. I'll be putting them out and arranging them in different configurations. Hey, Wonky, yeah, I hear you. They're beautifully made. There are so many of them. They're darling. And it's a damn shame, you know? Somebody ought to do something with these things. And I think about like Denise Schmidt, you know, she's such a brilliant designer. And if you know the work of that designer, Denise Schmidt in Connecticut, she really was, she was really foundational or just really important in the whole modern quilt aesthetic. And there is a modern quilt guild aesthetic. There just is. And Denise Schmidt had a lot to do with that. I mean, she was really a visible trendsetter in that space. And she made a really famous quilt called Single Girl, which took pieces like this, you know, these traditional kind of shapes and gestures, and she made them new, really, really genuinely new. I'm going to pull up a picture of Single Girl for later. But you know, one of the things Denise Schmidt did is she took these kind of traditional, old school, if you will, whatever, patchwork shapes and units, and she'd put that shape against bright red. You know, she'd shrink it down and put it and set it on bright red solid or solid black, you know, and it just gave this new energy to these vintage, you know, patchwork motifs. See, look at there you go. Oh, shoot, sorry. Stop. I was gonna play music during this whole thing, but we're just chatting and looking at it, so I don't have to do that. Okay. Anyway, so there's all these different ways you can configure pieces and parts like this, and so if you took these vintage pieces, what would you do with it? Would you set it on solid red or black, or would you graduate, you know, from black to gray? Would you set these, you know, Dresden plates on an ombre kind of background? What would you do with it? It's really fun finishing projects like this, or using pieces and parts like the ones Marianne has. It's a blast, you know. And there's 114 of these suckers. You can really do a lot, you know. Yeah. Okay, here, wait a minute. Hold on, pause. These are some of my favorite blocks that we had in our in the space, which are still available. I called it Wing It Flower Applique, so free. This person who made these blocks really, she winged it, or he winged it. I love them so much. They're not perfect. I mean, I feel like the person had a picture, and when you look at the stems and stuff, you can see like they're totally freehand cut, It's my favorite thing. I love it so much. Look at that. It's just like be yourself, okay? Whether you're a person or a tulip, just be yourself. Look at that. Oh God, yes. Look at that stem. And those leaves, they're like every stem gets 2 leaves on one on each side. Beyond that, I don't know. I love these. I love them so much. And they're not sewn poorly. Like when you pick these projects, and Mom and I talk about this in the class that you can purchase at quiltfolk.com. I mean, one of the big things you gotta, you have to make sure that you're willing to do what it takes to go the distance, right, to finish some of these things. I mean, these blocks have big challenges, A lot of the seam allowances are really skinny. You're going to cut off part of the block when you start sewing things together, but maybe that's okay. Like maybe your quilt doesn't have to look like an Instagram photo. Maybe your favorite quilt that you've ever had was something that was super jacked up. I mean, my favorite quilts are like that. This is my favorite quilt, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't have to look like perfect. Jeez. A quilt that looks like this, to me, I've said it a million times. This quilt has soul, damn it. It's got the maker's like personality, Whoever it was, she was like, that's good enough. And to me, like, hold on. Yeah, that's my jam. I like it. It's not perfect. It's okay. Nothing is. Perfection isn't real. So Darcy, I love it. Yes, Aura. Angelina, yes. Oh, Aura. You got it. It's so sweet because you know what? Like, it looks like nature. Really, it looks more like nature than. Oh, look! I was trying to show you something. It looks more like nature than some perfect thing. Okay, I'm showing you seam allowances. Pretty skinny, but it's okay. It's fine. Oh yeah, the back. Oh yeah, okay.
Seems like they might have gotten a little better as they went. Like this one seems like either somebody else did this applique or they got a little better.
Maybe listen, that's another way you can be good at something when you're like, can you do this for me? Can you help me? Yeah, that's you're not wrong actually. The blocks are different. Some of the blocks really are. Yeah, interesting. That looks pretty good. So that's pieced. I mean, that's hard. I don't know. Some people don't think it's hard, but like set in like tulip piece is hard, right, Steph? Like there's hard stuff that qualifies as hard.
It really is. Like if this was a newer quilter or somebody who hadn't done anything very complicated, this I think is great. I mean, the flowers to me look really good.
Yeah, same.
The stems are what challenging, but I have so much respect for somebody who does all of these blocks. I mean,
I'm sorry.
How many things, little crafty things have I done, and I've made one unit or one of them and been like, oh no.
Nope, I'm good.
But this person persevered.
They did, and there's like 40 blocks or something. Like if you want to do something with these blocks, let quiltnerdshow@gmail.com. Like somebody needs to take these little pumpkins home. I'm telling you. Look at that gingham, for God's sakes. And by the way, I'm like, I was buying for the foundry, which, this is like, we're scaling up. Like our hope is to like anyway, whatever. So we're doing hopefully doing more, and we just bought tops and things from Jill. Anyway, so the idea is to do more and more often now that we understand what production is like. And so I was looking at, these things, purchasing for a company that's like selling things. But personally, like I would love to work with these blocks, but look now. So I think someone should. I think you should email quiltnerdshow@gmail.com, and if you want me to put you in touch with Marianne, who offered these things for sale, you should get them from her, and she's lovely and wonderful. Anyway, but look up there at the seam allowance. And I can't really zoom in on YouTube, but just to the left of the chat, okay? Just to the left of the chat box up on the screen. If you've sewn anything, right, you know that a 1/4 inch seam allowance is needed. So if you're not a quilter, that maybe doesn't mean much to you, but basically what it means is that the little tip of your flower up there is going to get blunted off. It's going to get chopped off when you sew that block to another one, because anyway, yeah, seam allowances are weirdly hard to explain if you can't have a visual to show someone. But anyway, so these blocks are going to have that problem because they're not even. But like also like, so what? Like it should be like a blanket for a person. I just think so. So who cares if
Gamer Granny just said Girl Scout Troop Badge Project. This isn't one of those. It could have been one of those group projects where some kids got their mom to help.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, what a pumpkin.
Yeah, I could see that, I could see that happening.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Here's what the scout leader would have said.
And there was no monkey business about it either.
That's right. Emma Andres. So cute. So cute. Oh, just love it. It doesn't, maybe the difference in the blocks is attributed to different kids. Well, Finn McCool's mom talked to us about that quilt that's hanging in my dining room now, how it was probably like a group project. Okay, so Be Free Flower Applique. That's what I call this. Spill the wine, dig that stripe. Okay, Be Free Flower Applique. What did we have here? What did I want to show you? Oh yeah, this is crazy. Look at this block. There were only like 2 blocks, okay, in this little set. But I had to show you. I mean, dig that stripe. That's one. Yeah. Steph's like, wow. There's a. Woo. Who wants to date that? Like, what's happening here? Look at that.
I don't know if I want to date it, but I wouldn't kick it out of bed.
Hello. Okay. That was
love this block.
amazing. I wouldn't date it. I couldn't date it, but I wouldn't kick it out of bed. Listen, let me tell you, this block knows how to party. Let's be honest. Like, there's no doubt. But truly, like, what, babe, it's so good to see you. What era is that fabric from? That Charlie Brown situation type deal. And wow. There's I think maybe there's 2 blocks. Is that hair? Okay, it's thread. It looks like hair. I don't think I would have gotten a close up if it was hair. Also, by the way, it does look like hair. Let's just appreciate the hang on.
I feel like all of the quilt scholars that we have had hanging out with
yes.
lately would look at it and go, oh, that green means it's blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, that gold and I guess it's black or gray, zigzag. I mean, to me, that says modern, but then I see things like that and hear from, Barbara Brackman, oh, no, that's from 1880.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm bad at this.
Yeah, like, surprisingly, that's from Victorian England. Like, oh, yeah, nothing's new again, and, like, everyone's copying everyone else all the time. Like, I forgot that part. But this brown is intriguing. That's all hand-stitched, right? Like, I mean, a blanket stitch around all of... I don't know. People always think quilters are, like, patient or whatever. And we're really kind of not. I think we're not, because we love making quilts, and so we look for efficiencies and ways to do things faster. Oh, ham jam, this is great. We look for efficiencies and ways to do things faster so we can make another quilt, because it's so much fun. But to blanket stitch applique pieces, that many, I don't think I have it. I don't think I have it. Especially if what I was putting down was like, not that great. I mean, like, it's amazing, but like, if I wasn't like the prize winning person, I'd be like, I mean, this is really cool. It's also really hard and takes forever. Do I like this enough to keep going? I mean, there were only 2 blocks. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question is, did they get tired of it after that third block where they never added the fourth,
right,
like whatever little tendril thing?
Mm-hmm.
And did they say, forget this, I'm done? Or were these the leftovers? And there's a whole quilt out there made with these.
Oh my god, that's, oh my god.
I like to believe these are the extras, and there's some wild quilt out there.
That's what I do.
That's so true.
But,
it's so funny because you don't see what's not there, right? You don't see what wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. That's great.
I actually have an old, and I don't know how old it is. I probably should get one of the powers that know these things to take a look at it. But it is appliqued with a blanket stitch like that, or buttonhole stitch, with like thread, not floss or pearl cotton, but literal thread. And the stitches are so tiny. I'm like, this person went blind doing this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that they did this a lot. Certain appliques, just because it would hold the stuff down, and it is actually faster than trying to blind stitch.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Once you get in the rhythm of the buttonhole stitch, it's actually pretty fast because you're just like bam, bam, bam. You're not like sliding it through carefully like needle turn applique.
So I just had an idea. So if there's ever a Quilt Nerd like retreat or event, like here's what Steph will be hired to teach. But I mean, really, like what if Quilt Nerd, like a Quilt Nerd event or like a Quilt Nerd gathering had a workshop component, which like we don't teach how to do stuff on this show. Like it's a very different show. There's a lot of how to. We don't do that here. But like what if people like Stephanie like taught that kind of technique? I mean, because I don't know a lot of people doing hand stitch blanket stitch these days, but that's interesting what you just said is like, in fact, it's actually easier than a lot of stuff.
I did
like
it with a lot of pieces.
That is nerdy as hell and sounds pretty cool. Just saying.
Maybe it's my next study center.
Listen, maybe it is. I mean, legit. Like, and I was going to ask you about the cake break. I mean, I need to talk to you. We need to confab about what you want to do for the cake break, if it's still the Dunton report or if it's something else. Okay, let's get through this video and then we'll see what happens. Okay. So the next thing is crazy. It's wild. Ham jam. I call it a ham jam. There's a color out there for everybody. Just gird your loins, people. I mean, I've seen this color before. Oh yes, and you have also. Now, is the color of the film perfect? No, but have you? This is ham. This is ham colored. This is and actually it's ham colored, which is kind of a nice way to call it. Do you remember? I'm saying it. I don't care. Do you remember, if you were in public schools, at least in, the 1980s, when someone was sick in elementary school? I'm sorry, there was a treatment, like on the carpet in the elementary school. If someone got sick, they would clean it up, and it was that color, okay? It was like sawdust or some kind of, I'm sorry. It's the first thing I thought of. I didn't search for it. I was like, oh, that's that color of that stuff. And it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's like a fleshy.
Some kind of product.
Yes.
That they would, sprinkle on. And for some reason it had a smell, and I always wondered, was it the barf or was it the smell of the product I was smelling? I don't know. It was a weird smell. It wasn't like truly like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna throw up too, but it didn't smell good.
It was terrible. Yes, and what's so great, smell is so powerful. Like as soon as you said that, it was like, was it the barf or the product? I was like, ugh. Like I could smell it. Like instantly smell is so terrible. Silly putty. Okay, Robin, that is the most charitable description. It's actually a fine description of it, but let's go back because I do want to analyze these blocks anyway. But I've seen other quilts with this color. This was a thing, this whole color. But look at this. So the person who put these blocks together, it did work miracles. It did.
We've got every Gen Xer in here
Yeah.
gagging.
Exactly. They're like, whoa. Yeah, the carpet in my elementary school. Oh, yes. So this person made these blocks, but like this is floss. Like, right? This is embroidery floss. This is not, oh, well, I guess it's a blanket stitch again. Is that right? Or it's some kind of embroidery stitch. Oh, yeah. Someone will probably be able to tell what stitch it is. It's not blanket. It's like it's an embroidery stitch. Oh, Padma's eating dinner. Sorry. Sorry. Chevron or feather stitch, says Darcy. Interesting. Yeah, so it's a very, but then there's another stitch in between. Is that a basting stitch? No, that's the stitch, that's the applique stitch, and then they're doing an embroidery stitch on top of it. That's 3 times around. Or no, twice around, I guess. I mean, wow.
And that's interesting that they actually applicated it down and did that feather stitch.
Yep.
They'd used a lot of pins or some basting. They could have just gotten it all in one swoop.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many of these. Again, if you're interested, I mean, heck yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, there aren't many colors I can't, like, get down with, you know? I mean, what, you know, like brown, like, yeah, you know? And, like, I love a puce. I love a bisque. But I just can't make it work. It does. Where does it have its place? Where is its place? Tell me, and then I'll.
This.
I mean, where does ham live?
This color is when it's put up against, say, other like earth tones.
Okay.
It becomes just part of that neutral color
Yes.
palette, that Southwest color palette.
Yes.
Yeah. Up against these nice sort of sweet bright colors, it's a lot of plaids. It does.
Yes.
When you first said ham, I expected it to be a little more pink. This gives me bologna vibes.
Oh my God, bologna. Yes. Oh my God. Thank you.
And there was no monkey business about it either.
That it's
But
bologna.
Yeah, so Sherlock just said it's creamsicle.
Yeah. Yes.
It's creamsicle when it's up against navy, right?
Yes.
It could be melon. I know that there's in the indigo
Melon.
quilt show, indigo melons. They were this color up
Yes.
against like a bright navy blue, yeah.
So it's all about framing. It's all how you look at it, right? So here's the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
These pieces are appliqued onto the melon. It's called melon. Foundations. Okay. Without your intervention, without someone's help, these pieces, they are not a quilt. They are patchwork. They will be thrown away. It's amazing they have not been thrown away. Consider all of the things that have been thrown away, right? So I think it would be so interesting to acquire these things, acquire this stack. That's a lot of stitching to take out, but it's just like the tops of them, like the patch. This is very cool. Like the Dresden sort of plate kind of thing. So great. It's a shame to take out the embroidered pieces, but like make the ham, make the melon, the creamsicle fabulous. Like, yes, like deconstruct it, make 2 quilts that are just baller, you know, that use the beginning of it and take it into the 21st century in a way that, you know, gives it a life, but gives it a life that you enjoy. Like, there's no saying when you find these things that you have to complete this quilter's vision. I mean, she gave up on it, you know, like, go for it, you know, like be in collaboration. And I do think it's pretty cool. I mean, this person is most likely dead, you know. Finish her thing in a way that like makes you happy too. I'm just saying, like, it would be incredible to see this creamsicle become a really, really cool thing, and the applique that was done around it also become part of a really cool thing. It's just fun. It's also just a puzzle to solve. That's all. It's great. Okay, we're on. This has been great. This has been even more fun than I thought it would be, and I figured it would be a good time. We were going to do it on Saturday night, but you know. This is how it goes. All right, so what happens next, Mary Fonz? What did you do? There's maybe 2 more. Oh yeah, okay, no, there's more, and this is great. There were pieces that had not been Applique on. What are you doing? What are you doing, Mary? Okay. I was my own cameraman. Yeah, look at that. Very interesting. She did so much. There's so much work done on it. By the way, David B, if you're watching, I got your email and I will respond. Yeah.
So I'm confused with these. Mary, do you think that this was a quilt top at one time and it was cut apart?
Oh, that's interesting. Very possible. I've seen some that were clearly that way.
Why would you have stitched these down like this? These don't need to be on a...
You're
I'm
right.
wondering if the person went, oh my God, my quilt looks like ham.
We're going ham on this quilt. We're cutting it up. It's very possible. And I've seen that. And anybody who's done like antiquing or is a deal like Jill, you've seen that where it's like this was a top and it was cut up. That's very possible. It's a really good theory on it. Yep. Extra amoeba. Marodim for the win. By the way, first time chatter, immediately like nailing it. That you're absolutely right. An extra amoeba. I love it. I love it.
Not to call anyone out, but
Please.
Mara Dim's a friend from the cake show.
Oh, great.
And, I believe Mara Dim is for sure one of our people.
I love that, Marodim. I'm so glad that you're here. Little duck for you. I'm glad you're here. And you are, if you're a friend of Steph's, you're a friend of ours. Okay, here's a top. So this is a full top, and I couldn't fluff out the whole thing. But I could show you some of it. This is really beautiful. Mike, this is actually not Marianne's. Mike purchased this for Quilt Folk. This is an interesting top. I could only show you, like I said, part of it, but it's an interesting configuration. Also, I'm intrigued by it. It's muslin, okay, and then all this little piecing. How does that go together? I mean, that to me, you know, let me back up. I don't know how much footage I got of it, so yeah, okay, let me go back. Here we go. It's pieced. So the hexagons in the middle, the muslin, that's not appliqued, or that's not like what is it set in? I don't know. Look at those tiny triangle joint pieces. I mean, I don't know. There's probably a way to do it. I feel like these days, like since this quilt was made, it's very likely that someone who makes quilt patterns has come up with a fast version to do it, which is totally cool. But there's something about like doing it the hard way that makes a top sometimes look more, I don't know, look better, because you don't have a seam running through that hexagon or whatever it is. Okay, so I turned it over. Okay, let's look at the stitching. Now this is something you have to look at when you're examining these like abandoned projects. Looks like a job for EPP, says Kenny V. Amy Papp says, except in the Jack's chain. Oh, there's a little 9 patch instead of that little section of 3 rectangles. Ooh, interesting. Okay, we're gonna tap it back. The Jack's chain. Okay, so you're saying except, so Amy says it's very similar to the Jack's chain quilt. I'm gonna pull a picture of that up, okay? But Amy says, except in the Jack's chain pattern, there's a little 9 patch. Oh God, so that's even more intricate. Wow, instead of the section of 3 rectangles. Interesting. Huh, okay, wow. It's very tiny piecing. I don't have a measurement for you, but. Okay, so then you gotta turn it over. You gotta look at the turnover. That's hand pieced. If you look at the pink triangle, you can see it, or that burgundy thing too. Hand pieced, great, nice seam allowance, straight stitching, you know? It's a well-constructed top. You can work with tops that are not well constructed. And you know, it is really true. Some tops are well constructed and some aren't. And it doesn't mean that the person was a good person or bad person, or that the quilt police needs to like shame them. It's that, like, you know, there are quilts that are falling apart because the person was, you know, could have used a hand or was just kind of winging it or whatever. And there are quilts that are real tight, you know, because the construction was tight. I mean, do you want a table with 3 legs that aren't equal? It's that kind of thing. Like, the table might be charming and awesome, but if you're going to use it, you kind of need like the 3 legs to be the same length. That's what we mean, in terms of well made and so forth. Yeah.
And I think in terms of like this idea of well made versus, like I have a number of beautiful quilt tops that I don't understand why they never got made into quilts because they're very well done.
Yeah.
But you look at the ones that are problematic and you feel like if only there had been somebody to help this person. And like, it's very satisfying to be that person.
Yeah, it's great.
To be like, I see what the challenge was and I'm going to help you out.
Yep.
And we're going to make the quilt that you had in mind.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too.
It feels good.
It feels good. And if you make decisions that, are yours, it's like, think about any project that you've done. Like I've made quilts with my mom and I'm just like, I think this. And she's like, what about this? What about this fabric? And I'm like, oh snap, that's so much better, So a collaboration could be a really good time. And so to do that, like with someone who's, who lived in 1885, it's like, it's pretty powerful, Okay. So these are, these are template pieces, pattern pieces that are in with that top. Is that right? Wait a minute. Is that right? No. This is with something else, I think. God, I don't know. Now I'm confused. This is for, okay, sorry. These are for, look at the space. Oh, yeah, that's where we did a bunch of photography. Okay, here. So the pattern pieces I think I was showing are for these. So there are tons of these. Look at these. They're so sweet. Oh, look how that fabric looks. It's so nice. So there's a ton of these 6-pointed stars. So many in this packet. And by the way, the person who has all of these, Marianne, I worked with her when I was with Fons and Porter. She was a pattern writer and just really great, very talented person. And she has all this stuff because she said it made me happy. She was in a hard time in her life for a long time, some years. And she said it was the thing that made me happy. It was going to these like flea markets and estate sales and buying beautiful things. And she's like, I would just touch them and look at them and they made me so happy. And I have a lot of things. Like basically like I really needed to get happy all the time. And so she has a bunch of stuff and she heard about the foundry and loves the project. And so she brought over a bunch of stuff, but this is the kind of stuff, and she's got great taste. So there are many beautiful pieces and parts. Look at that, the empty center. What would you do with that?
I think I might know what those are.
What do you know? What do you know about
I
it?
can see the rest of it there.
Yeah.
Okay, Jill, Padma, we're Bird Nerd. We saw this in Mia Clift's ephemera study center.
Yay!
She presented us with this chain letter that women would send out this chain letter, and if nobody broke your chain, you'd end up with 125 stars, and then you use those big white hexagons then to join them.
Really?
I think we were all kind of like, how does this go together when she passed out this paper, and then somebody in the study center had a picture of one of these quilts, and that's what it is. It's a friendship quilt.
OMG. Really? That is like kind of spooky in the best way. So there's big parts of, there's swaths of this thing that are done. And this is part of the packet, like, and by the way, I did not even ask Marianne about like talking about this, but like, and I'm not selling this for her, but I mean, if you're interested in this, let us know, right? quiltnerdshow@gmail.com, because Marianne wants to give it to a good home. And if that makes sense to what you all saw at Mia Clift's thing, that's so cool. Because there's big parts of this thing that are finished and they're sewn well. And these are not easy to sew well because of all those insets, those Y seams. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, this could just be a pattern that somebody likes.
Sure.
Because I do see repeats of fabric, but also when your chain letter gets broken and you have to fill in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot, Susie.
I only got 50. Now
Yeah.
I have
exactly.
75 of these.
What the hell am I going to do? I don't even want to do this. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there you go. It's fun, huh? It's real fun. Okay, so that's that. I mean, that went longer than I thought it would, but I loved every minute of it. Hey, you know what? Hey, what's going on here? Stop it. All right. So, Cake, do you want to take a couple minutes and talk to the peeps, and I'll run to the bathroom, and then we're gonna do just a couple like smaller things, and one of the segments I had prepared we'll do on Saturday. I keep wanting to get to Carla Hemlock. Carla Hemlock, you're amazing, and we're gonna do a big thing about you, but I don't have the time tonight, so we'll do two other really quick fun things. Yeah. Can you good to take over the thing? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Good. Okay, I'll be right back. BRB. Yeah, thanks, Lynn. I know I could go all night. Okay. All right.
So cake breaking, but I have nothing done. I don't have Dutton stuff to talk about right now. I really had to take a mental break from him, as lovely as he is. I don't have. I think we're gonna have to change the Dutton report to some other varied cake break title. While Mary's out of the room, guys, I'll just let you know on Thursday, I'm gonna ask Chat GPT to come up with some quilt trivia. And if you've watched any of the news lately about the craziness that comes out of Chat whatever, the chat robot, it seems like it's gotten worse and crazier since it came out last year. So I think we're going to go for some madness like that. And if that doesn't work out, I will find something else to surprise Mary with. So just wanted to let you know about that. And if you can't make it on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, definitely check out the replay because I always put those up. Yeah, the pedo papers, the pedo pages. Fleur Pedo is definitely maybe next on my list. I was actually looking up some stuff about her. Sally Garut, I've actually been reading some Sally Garut stuff, you guys, and if you're not aware of who she was, she and Joyce Gross were some of the founders of the American Quilt Study Group. And Sally, I think if I remember the details, she only made one quilt, but she did a lot of stuff. She got education like in weaving, and there was a point where she was doing a lot of screen printing. And I actually was lucky enough to grab some of her screen printed blocks. So they're just white fabric with a screen printed, they're photos that have been screen printed. Get them at the silent auction at AQSG seminar. And I'm talking to some folks at the Quilters Hall of Fame because they have a full collection, not the full collection, but a collection of Sally Garut's screen prints. So I'm talking to them about sending some of those to them because I accidentally outbid them like a jerk. I didn't realize, but so I've been reading up on her to find out more, and she was just such a fascinating woman, and like just make me feel like a really dumb person reading her writing because she was so articulate and like so smart. And I super feel bad about outbidding a quilt museum on something they really wanted in their collection. So but I do have plans for a couple of Sally's blocks. Sort of in tribute to her. I have a piece that in my mind that I'm working through that I want to use her screen prints, as well as some pieces I was gifted from another deceased quilter named Liz Axford, and I was gifted a piece of some improv quilting or improv piecing she had done that was in her estate. So I'm kind of thinking about pairing those together with some other stuff and sort of a tribute piece. So
that's amazing. That's such a great idea. I almost tripped over the entire rig. Sorry, I just want to say that's an amazing idea. Yeah.
Yes, Mary may or may not have been part of the series of serendipity that.
Hey man. No matter what, that is brilliant. Like it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something I'm thinking about working on, and so I've been doing a lot of reading. Since we got back from AQSG seminar. And excuse me, I would suggest if you're interested in any of these like the old guard, these rock stars that got into quilt history and looking at quilts, you're not necessarily going to find them if you go out and look for their quilts, because a lot of them were not quilters. They were other types of artists and scholars, and so go to the Quilt Index or go to the Quilters Hall of Fame, and they have great archives, and you can find all of these articles that these folks have written and other stuff they did. I learned so much about Sally recently, and then was on the Quilters Hall of Fame today, their website, just looking at the things that they have related to her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of this. It was, really cool to learn about her.
There's a million things all the time. That was, okay, so the problem with the cake break is that I run and, powder my nose or whatever, and I miss the cake break. It's funny how that works. But, I mean, I get the skinny from cake, but, like, what she's saying, like, heck yeah, like that's great. That's great information. There's so much to learn and uncover, and like, I mean, we'll never be done with this thing.
I mean, just the stuff that's out there that you do not have to be subscribed to anything to get your hands on.
Exactly.
There's like uncoverings. Now, I don't know if you've mentioned this, Mary. I don't think I did mention it on my stream, but one of the projects that HG is working on is being able to do searchable digitization of uncoverings, including the pictures. There's some copyright concerns that they're working through, but you could go on Quilt Index, or if you're a member, you can go look at those, but you don't get the pictures.
You gotta have the pictures.
They're leveraging technology.
This is why,
they're leveraging technology, and it's so cool.
It's good.
It's good.
And
this stuff is out there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting your hands on it.
Shout out to Carrie Dell, man. I mean, today my flight was delayed out of St. Louis, and we had a Zoom, and I texted her like the moment I got off the airplane and had service, because I couldn't have the Zoom with her. But anyway, like, Carrie Dell is great. Like, she's the new executive director of AQSG. She's doing a great job. This is not an easy job, and I feel like she's doing a really good job. And she's one of the people, along with Nancy Bavor, who is like a goddess, right? They're working on, making AQSG bringing it into the 21st. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that is like what they're doing. The images. The images are important. Yeah. Okay.
Is it Molly on that committee?
Molly,
yes, Molly
is
on all the committees.
Oh yes, she is. Everyone wants her. They're like, oh, Molly Premsky. Have you met Molly?
Every
it's
time
like,
I talk to her. Every time I talk to her, she's like, I'm on that committee.
Yeah. Like, Molly, stop joining committees.
When do you do your job, like your real job?
Yeah,
like, are you now working for AQSG, doing all the committees?
Exactly. It's like,
she's very enthusiastic. I love it.
Yes, it's a good thing. You too could be snatched up by the AQSG board or committees to do things. It's great. It's nice to feel wanted. Cool. Excellent. So a couple quick things tonight. That was a good time, man. I should hey, if you're ever out there and you find a bunch of stuff, take video of it. Padma, you did this. You shared video. That's fun. Talk about Quilt Nerd on Parade. If you see stuff and you're looking through a flea market, or you're seeing things, take video of it now and send it, and we'll watch it on the show. We'll watch your footage on the show and analyze it and talk about it. Think like I would think, or think like the show would think. If you film anything, take your time with it. We can always speed up the footage, but we can't slow it down very well. So if you find like an amazing box of quilt pieces and parts, take your time, do it right, and film it, and then send me the video, and we'll watch it. It's great fun. It's even more fun than I anticipated. So good time. So from time to time, I look at what like National Awareness Month it is. And these things, they're just, when people do this, part of the reason I kind of think national, fill in the blank awareness months are good or valuable is because a lot of people probably worked to make it happen. And that means that a lot of people really care about something that they want other people to care about. Like, for example, October is National ADHD Awareness Month. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's, I think, Depression and Anxiety Health Awareness Month. There's always a lot of things that different months are, and you could just do a Google search and learn about it. And so I look for that. I don't look for content for the show. That's not the first place I go. But I was thinking about like a really fun, like some fun thing to do. Sometimes it's like National Donut Month or Ice Cream Month or something like that. And so I'll look for that when I'm looking at content for the show, programming, if you will. And October is Socktober. Okay, Socktober. There's a project called Socktober, and it's really cool. And let me grab the thing. Socktober. Here we go. Socktober. So this is a thing I thought I'd tell you about. And of course, there's a quilt component, okay? But Socktober, Socktober.com, okay? Socktober, connect with your local shelter and start a drive today. And if there's pizza involved, I'm in. That's a sock with pizza on it. So I'm very interested. Like, we have socks, we have pizza. Cool. You all know about my sock monkey connection. So anyway, so each night in the United States, an estimated 600,000 people live on the streets. This October, we want 2 million people to show that even a small act of love, such as donating a pair of socks, can make a big difference in the lives of our neighbors who are homeless. I know a lot of homeless people in this neighborhood. I know some of them by name. So let socks be the starting place. So this is very cool. I mean, it started with me looking at like what, October, what people are doing in October to say, hey, look at this. This is a need. And so Socktober.com. Okay, you can read more about it, but find a shelter near you. Here's a link. Okay, find a shelter near you. Find out what other homeless folks in your area might need, support your shelters, rally your community. Here's a way to spread the word. So Socktober is helping people who don't have places to live that are safe and, dry, feel better and have what they need. And look at this. It's Socktober and we need your help. I mean, like, these are little cards you can print out. I was like, oh my, I know, right, Steph? It's so amazing. It's so good. It's October and we need your help. I mean, you've already, yes. It's the 17th, right? It's like half the month. You got half the month to do something, So let's help the, name of homeless shelter or organization by collecting blank, the number of socks, deadline drop off. I mean, this thing is cool. So I wanted to tell you about it because it's totally cool. How do I get back to where I'm going? What's going on? And hold on, do I do that? Oh dear. Oh, okay. So that's cool, right? Like, that's a really fun thing to do. And I decided that it was worth talking about, even though there wasn't a quilt connection. But then I found a quilt connection. I found a short that uses socks in quilts. That's right. So let's check it out. I did not know that this was a thing, but it is. And we are going to watch it. Hang on. So maybe the Socktober, it's cool, right? Stuff like that's like a really neat thing.
Yeah, I occasionally actually watch commercials, and I believe that the Bombas socks people. But they sell quite expensive socks, but
yes.
But it's one of those social capitalism organizations where every pair of socks you buy a pair gets donated, and I think based on their statistics that homeless shelters and people experiencing homelessness, their number one request is socks.
Yes.
And I think like undershirts.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you think
and for the ladies, the pads.
Like, people didn't bathe a lot and stuff, but they kept their body linens very clean because
Yep.
It's better for your health, even if you can't, bathe a lot or your outer clothing isn't always clean. If you have the stuff close to you is clean, then you feel better and you're cleaner.
And it reminds me of when I've been sick or just, when I had COVID, when I got that last booster, the night sweats, man. And I've been through a hell of a lot of harrowing health situations, right? And night sweats have been a big part of my story. Nothing is worse. There are few things that are quite so specifically terrible than having wet clothes on you. Wet socks? Are you kidding me? Like, if you've ever been camping or hiking and your shoes get wet, like, it's so bad. It's so small. It seems like a small thing, but the distraction of that and the misery of that, like, yeah, wet socks, let's get rid of that. Maybe that's actually a huge key to, like, helping somebody, like, have a better day, you know? So Socktober, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't look into the organization doing that, but, like, if they have cartoon socks on their website, I'm sorry, I'm probably giving them a pass, like, without too much investigation. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. So this is a short. I've never seen this done. Let's check. This is from T-Shirt Quilts on YouTube. T-Shirt Quilts. T-Shirt Quilts. Go subscribe, like their stuff. Let's listen to what they have to say. Here we go. Hang on now. What are you doing? Where are you at? What's going on? Hold on. Where's my sound? Just a minute. Sound is up. Okay. Refresh. Hold on. Just hang 10. Talk about socks. What's going on here? Oh, okay. Oh, there it is.
Everyone.
It was on mute. Okay. I thought I checked that. All right, let's do this right here. And
It's Andrea from Two Cool T-Shirt Quilts. This quilt is a multi-use size quilt, so it's 60 by 72. It has a 2-inch solid border, that's that royal blue part, and it has a navy blue binding. And it's all about fencing. Now, what I really love about this quilt is
it's all
that
about,
we've used
she's saying it's all about fencing. And I was like, is that a technique? No, the person who wanted this quilt is a fencer. Okay, got it. Okay.
socks in the quilt. So this block here.
Hold on.
Here is a sock. That is a sock. That's a sock. And that block is a sock. I think it really adds something really unique to this quilt. Adds nice texture, but it also helps tell the story of their fencing career and the socks they wore to fence. So we can add socks to your quilt too.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, it's Andrea from Two Cool T-Shirt.
So there you go. Socks in the T-shirt quilt. Cool. I mean, I've never had socks.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, yeah. If I was, I guess fencing is cool. But if you get like bespoke socks for your fencing squad, like now I'm really interested. Like,
Well, yeah, like that's part of the, I guess it's the uniform.
oh, right.
You know, they wear like they're almost like jodhpurs
They
or
are.
length pants. And then they have like socks, and then they have those soft little shoes that I guess they're grippy or something. I don't know.
Yep. They are.
I worked with a guy who was a fencing instructor, and he was always talking to me about fencing. I'm sorry if anybody out there is a fencer, but it was really boring.
Don't be
But I do remember the pictures.
offensive. Don't be offended. Okay, listen. Offense, yes, exactly. Listen, you know what? We usually go, till about 9:00, and that's exactly where we're gonna land this plane. Which, since being up since before the crack of dawn, I'm impressed. But because I've always said, and we all know that this show takes you everywhere. You start with a quilt and then you go everywhere. And like, it's not that quilts are like, holy. And it's funny. So I had, I don't know if you're watching, Audrey, but my new friend, Audrey, okay, I think I can call you that. We were laughing about, I don't know, we were talking about all kinds of things. She's a quilter. And like, and we were sort of, I don't know, we were talking about all kinds of things. And she was like, you called your show Quilt Church for a while. And I was like, it's true. But not really, right? Because we were just joking about like the preciousness of, what we're doing, or like what quilts mean, and like what they don't mean. It was great. It was such a great conversation. Anyway, and it was like, and like this show was called Quilt Church for a hot minute, but I knew it wasn't right. I didn't get quiltchurch.com, you know what I mean? Like as a domain, and like I didn't like hire someone to make a logo for Quilt Church. Like I knew it wasn't quite right? So I understand that. Like, they're just objects, and entropy always wins, and like everything, whatever. But quilts are great, right? They're really great because they take us everywhere we want to go. And the reason I say it is because we're about to understand what fencing uniforms are, okay? Because I just pulled up this image, and I want to know, like, okay, here are these adorable children, okay, in their little fencing gear. Okay, wait, hold on now. Open with preview, okay, and I'm gonna get, well, I don't know, that's a little weird. I don't know if I want to show children in fencing uniforms. Okay, hang on. Wow, okay, parts of a fencing uniform. That's, because we talk about sock quilt, and then we get into fencing uniforms, and now I want to know parts of a fencing uniform, right? Because you're right, Steph, there's like socks. Here we go, right here. This is fantastic. Look at this. Open image. There you go. Here we go. We're not going to spend long on it, but we have the opportunity to understand. Okay, here we go. All right, fencing. Let's talk about it. Socks, there it is! Cake! Right there! Oh, I had no idea. I didn't understand. What's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, there is a whole outfit for this. Like, you don't just go out there fencing in your jammies.
Yeah.
You have to have protection.
Or do you?
It's kind of weird looking.
Yeah, the chest protect. Okay. I mean, socks are part of it.
Like the plastron. I mean,
plastron. Is anybody out there a fencer? I feel like Sherlock, perhaps Druid. I don't know. Someone out there has fenced. Halloween costume sorted. Yes! Volan, yes, be a fencer. It's so hot. If you want to be like hot on Halloween, you got a hot Halloween party to go to, fence. It's like a masquerade because you wear the mesh. Do it. Volan, do it. You know what? We want to see the pics. Breeches, listen, I don't think you should go without the jacket, but I'm just saying the breeches are sexy. Definitely judge your audience. Don't show up in just the breeches unless it's that kind of party. Anyway, this is great. This is very interesting. Very interesting. It's a serious outfit, Jan. I'm telling you. Underrated. Padma dated a fencer. Interesting. LeMay? The LeMay, right? Is that right? Is it the LeMay? I don't know. Let's go with LeMay and not Lane. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a bodysuit situation.
Yeah. It's a thong. Let's call it what it is, people. That's a thong situation. Okay. So the last thing I'll leave you with tonight, y'all, is this. So do you know about Arnie and Carlos? Have you heard about these people, Steph? You need to know about these people. This is a vortex situation. I was looking at one thing, I found another. I thought that these people were people that Eric had told me about, but they're actually different. It's just a YouTube channel. I'm going to share it with you. Maybe we'll watch one of their videos together at some point. I don't know. Do you know these people?
I think I have seen some. I think I have seen something with these guys, and I'm drawing a complete blank on what it is.
It's a very big channel, and like, I don't know, the algorithm is a fickle lady. But these guys, I mean, 166,000 followers. They do a lot of different crafts and things. Here, I'm going to give you, Steph, the link to their playlist on YouTube for patchwork and quilting, because they do a lot of embroidery. They do different things. But, okay, here it is. Wikipedia. Sorry, hang on. Oh, Arnie, yeah. Okay, here we go. So Steph can put in the chat. Yeah, go ahead.
I believe it's pronounced Arn.
Arn. Yes. Okay. Yes. Well, they're great. So I just put. So Steph will put in the website for these guys, and then also their YouTube channel. But I directed you specifically to the playlist that they have created of all the videos that they have on patchwork specifically. So let's just check it out. I want to share it with you. They're delightful. They're different. They have a different take on things. Let's look.
some hexagons that we wanted to update you on, and a new
They're Norwegian, by the way, and yeah, you can see on their website.
quilting project that is gonna start happening very soon.
Yes.
So
Hexies.
2 updates. Arne.
And we've been in England, we've been to Hexham, and we have walked Hadrian's Wall. And in Hexham, we did some thrift shopping.
We
Look,
found all these bags with handkerchiefs.
I don't know, I wonder who used this.
No one. It looks like they're new.
They haven't been used, but they're so thin.
Yeah, but look at this. This is all.
Yeah. There's 6 of them in each bag, have 6, and there's embroidery on them. But these have like a lace, and there's a hole. I think this one also have holes.
These have been folded in a very cute way.
But so we're gonna do more hexagons and use this like we did on this one with the old.
It's mesmerizing. Yeah.
So this is the first one we finished, and then we were thinking this can make some nice hexagons. So what we're gonna do with this is that we have to have 2 layers of fabric because of the holes.
So you remember there was that
this one will
woman
be
not too long
double.
ago. Hey, who was sewing in her home. I forget her name, but she was just like, it was so easy. She was sewing. She was kind of like Nana. Like she just had that Nana energy where she was just in her house and she was like minding her grandkids, and she's like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sew. She was making the cathedral window. That was who it was. I can't remember her name, but you just wanted to hang out with her. These guys are kind of the same. I mean, they're hanging out. They're making things. I'm gonna mute it. They're making things, and it's great. So it's Arne and Carlos, and the links are in the chat. And it's always so important when we watch a video on this channel to go subscribe, like the video, if nothing else. You know, if you check anything out that they have, Liberty, just like the video. The algorithm is cruel, and anytime you watch a Quilt Nerd video or anything, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It matters, and it doesn't cost anything, you know. So anyway, these guys are great. That's all. I wanted to share it with you, and I'll screen some of their videos and see, you know, is there something we ought to watch together? And if you watch something that you think would be really cool for Quilt Nerd to watch together, I'd love to know. You know, they're a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay, cake. I mean, here we are. I'm surprised I have as much pep as I do. I feel like I'm gonna start, like, every light's gonna have a tracer, and but we made it, and it was fun. God, I love doing the show. Damn it, I love it so much. I hate the tech problems because it's so fun to do it, right?
It's so good to have you back and like in a place of tech safety.
Yeah.
But I also think that you're probably due for some sleep.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep for sure. And tomorrow is Wednesday. Yeah, I mean, yeah, life is good. And Thursday at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, almost said Pacific.
Eastern.
Yeah. I'll be on with Steph, and you know, let's do it right at 1, because I actually have a call with Biscuit at 2. How about that? If that works for you. If that works for you. I don't want to strong arm the schedule. Right. So 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, Cake and I will do something on her stream, and she always has a great stream and has great ideas about content. So I don't know what we'll do, but I will learn and I will do it. Whatever you say. Well, okay.
And there'll be a quiz at the end.
Heck yeah, let's do a quiz. I love it. Yeah, anything you want. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Straight respect to people who didn't chat, and thank you for folks who did. And yeah, for subscribers, everything. You know, I do love you. So take care and be good and not too good, and we'll see you on Saturday night. Oh yeah. Oh, and we end every show this way. This is a poem. I'm going to do it. I have to do it. So a poem by a 6-year-old named Niall, and it's called The Tiger, okay? The tiger. He destroyed his cage. Yes. The tiger is out. Good night.